Okay, so it's been a little while since I've got the SB 12.3 or an update on how this thing is going. I'm still putting it together. I just had a little bit of work to deal with. I actually was at work for the last couple of weeks, so I didn't have any time to work on my speakers, except for yesterday. And I did get some stuff done. So let's go and take a peek and see what we got accomplished. So first up, the holes in the bottom of the speaker for the actual plugs or the inputs or the banana plugs, whatever you want to call them. We're going to connect the wires up to. I finally got those put in there. And yesterday I spent a good chunk of the day. Yeah. We got the holes all put in there. They're all routed in. The speakers, I was taking my time with them. I actually sat them in there and they fit perfectly, one at a time. And I did go and I also did router out, just like the design. I don't know if you can see it in the video. I'll try to get a better angle. The little bit of a chamfer, that is there as well. I didn't go quite as deep as the design because I am using a thinner material. This is 18 millimeters thick, and according right to the drawings, it's actually a 1-inch thick material. I also did get the lamination done. That is laminated on there, and you can see that that turned out really well. So there's the hole, but it gives me a little bit more meat to kind of screw in the subwoofer, because if I wasn't putting that 12-inch driver in there, you can see that would end up being like super thin if I was just using the ply material that was there initially. So anyway, they're all said and done. I got both of them done. With the mirrored pairs, they are all routed and good to go. Bit of a pain in the butt on the tweeter drivers that they did that. I'm not sure what the reason was for that, but the connections on the back of the tweeter are kind of offset and in a weird spot. I really wish they would have just stuck those on the back of the tweeter, kind of in the normal spot where they usually stick the wire connections. Those are done. I also did get the interior portions all finished out as well. So, ta-da! Ta-da! The mirror pairs, they're all set to go as well. And the other bracing holes are also cut out as well. Now, I do have video footage of me kind of putting all of this stuff together, and I will kind of keep that separate. I will go through a speaker box building kind of thing on all of this stuff, just because there's a lot of different things that go into building this nicely that I would have never thought about, and I'm sure there's other people out there building speaker boxes, so why not just share some of the hard lessons I learned kind of on the way doing this, and mostly spending time routing those holes back there. I spent a lot of time and effort getting that done properly. So I'll go through that, but the nasty woodworking part, I think that's all done. I can now clamp these things together. I also did finally decide on what I'm going to finish these boxes with. I was initially kind of thinking I might throw a clear stain on the speaker boxes, but after kind of seeing, new TV showed up, side rant. After seeing kind of how nice the black on black looks there for my theater setup, I'm just going to finish them, and they are going to be a matte black finish. The other perk of the matte black finish is I can countersink screws, I can putty those screws, I can sand it completely smooth, and have a perfectly nice box that's finished up. And I think the overall end job is going to look better in the theater room, and I also think the box itself is going to be finished better than if it was clear. I kind of think it might stand out a little bit if I was just going to use it for like a speaker for audio listening. That might be the way to go, but for my setup, I think the overall best thing for me is going to do the black finish and putty and sand and whatever. Get a better overall finish. So some of the things I ran into while making these guys, these cutouts, was how to do them. Now, I could have done them really, really nicely. I could have made a template, then I could have routed it out. And you could see that this edge is not totally flat. It's a little bit jagged. There's a little something going on there. And I also did get, you can see it, there were split outs as well, because I elected to do this with a jigsaw. Now, you could do it better, but I don't see the purpose of wasting a bunch of time making a template to get it perfectly smooth for the inside. So that was one of the things I had to figure out. I also had to figure out how to laminate the MDF onto the back of that plywood. And I didn't want to just clamp it because there's really not enough surface area pressing together. So I did find a way to do that, solve that problem. That's going to be in the speaker box, building tips and tricks. It'll come on later on after I'm done with these speakers. I've kept all the footage. I'll put it together then. So anyway, that's coming up. That was another one of the things I had to kind of figure out. Routering depth and holes. That took me a little bit too, and I remembered I had a tool as well inside. I guess open up the box, right? It's just a digital caliper, but that just totally slipped my mind that these calipers also have the thing on the backside to measure the depth. So that right there is how I got the depth exactly the right way for my router, by using a caliper, using the tools that I already had. There would be different ways to do it. You could just take a little bit more time, route a little bit, or try a test piece, or just some scrap lumber you have laying around. That would also be something that would work. But yeah, I learned quite a bit with just using the router and using the camphor bits and flush routing. That's the next thing. Ended up forgetting to cut 2 pieces on my cut list, so I was short the 2 tops. Well, it's fine. I still don't have them. I do have the lumber for them sitting in the garage. I just got to cut them off. But what I'm going to end up doing is, just taking and flush routing the outside of the top once that's all fastened down. And I also like that better for probably as a speaker box building method. I'm going to kind of go into that a little bit further for the rest of the home users that are not wanting to acquire a ton of tools, but still want a nice looking speaker box when they're done. Now, I did also opt for the optional crossovers on these speakers, which means they're not the same size as the ones that they give you by default. I think they were kind of designed to all sit on the bottom of the floor of the speaker on the inside. That's not going to work out. You can clearly see that's going to be the case here. What I'm going to end up doing is mounting one on either the coil for the 12-inch woofer at the bottom. I think I'm going to mount that on the back, but as I kind of get the speaker kind of put together, I think we can kind of go over placement of it, maybe a little bit better than trying to visualize it now until I got the box kind of partially set up and marked. That's it so far. That's where I'm at today. Tomorrow I hopefully will get the speakers, at least just get them to a point where I can dry fit them. So I will countersink and put holes in all the boxes and everything and have it so I can kind of sit them together and start worrying about the assembly, gluing pieces together, and then finally get a chance to listen to these things. I know you guys are probably going nuts thinking I'm dragging this out. I really am not. I wish YouTube was the only thing I could do and make YouTube videos and make speakers and listen to my audiophile hobby. Unfortunately, I am not a cabinet maker. This is going to take me a little bit of time. I will continue to update and share with you guys. I'll postpone all the other how-to and instructional videos on building speaker boxes. It's just going to stay Zaph audio until I get those things up, until they replace the RTI A7s in the back and I get a chance to listen to them. On a side note, for any of you thinking about getting the SB Acoustics tweeters, I highly recommend. As you can see, the Ugless 420 left after I put the big TV in there, or the new TV in. I noticed it right away with music. There is a lot of clarity that is lost in just having those RTI A7s. So I can't wait for the replacement SB Acoustic tweeters. And I'm also kind of thinking in the future, We're going to take that tweeter out of there because I really like the clarity of it. And, I don't know, maybe we should replace that guy as a kind of a project later on. But I've got a lot on my plate right now. So first things first, Zaph Audio 12.3s, get those things together, get them put up. I will put them together, maybe just roughly put them together. I won't seal them, and I might leave the baffling and stuff out. I probably will have to do this just to fill my own craving a little bit. Get the crossovers wired, get the speakers in there, and just hook them up and give them a quick listen before I put the stuffing in there, glue everything so it's sealed, and then finish it. That also lets me make sure that I wired all the crossover components and everything correctly as well. I may have kind of just checked the crossovers a little bit, but it's really tough to see if I hooked them all up correctly just by kind of hooking them up on the ground. So I definitely have been chomping at the bit here a little bit. It's coming. I've got to be a little bit patient, do it right, do it once, and I won't regret taking the time on it now. Yeah, that's it for today.